So in today's guide for Techtonica, we'll be diving deep into the power systems of the game. Now we're going to be talking about the Mk1 Generators, the Mk2 Generators, the water wheels, and also the accumulators, how they all work and what is the best way to optimize them all. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So to start off, we're going to start with the crank generator Mk1. Now I know most people will know basics of the power system, but for anyone who's new to the game and just started playing, I think I would go through everything for you all. So we're going to start with the Mk1 crank generator. Now you unlock this very early into the game and it's your first sort of major power source. So as you can see, it has a power production of 150 kilowatts, and all you need is 10 copper components and 10 electrical components to craft it. Now once you have crafted it and placed it down, it will be like this, which just basically means it's not activated. Now to start with, you will need to manually activate these, and you can do that by interacting with it and activate the crank. As you can see here, we're now producing a power of 198. I've got some bonuses, so if you're just starting out, that will be at 150, and you'll have a charge time of 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes you will have to activate the crank manually, just like that. And then quite later on in the game, you will come across the Mk2 crank generator, which are these red ones here. Now these come a bit later on in the game. You have to find the scannable item and then also purchase it in the tech tree and find under energy. And it won't be until you get to Victor level 4 where you've got the advanced electronics, and it's just here. Now you can purchase this with your research cores, and this basically works in the same principle as the Mk1 crank generator. You can activate it by hand and that will give you a charge time of 5 minutes. The biggest difference is this one will give you a power production of 800 kilowatts, and as you can see, it does take advanced circuits, 20 process units and 8 normal crank generators as well. Now if you're new to the game or you're not quite that far into the game yet, you're probably already aware that you get fed up quite quickly of activating these generators by hand manually, and that will bring us to these here, which is the water wheel. So the water wheel, as you can see here in the description, it doesn't generate any power, but it does generate kinetic energy that can be converted into electricity with a crank generator. Now what this basically means is that if we place it into the water like this, it will produce energy powered by the water, and that means we won't have to manually keep having to activate this crank generator. So as you can see here, now I inspect it, we've got one water wheel, power converter, and then we've got a maximum charge of 198. Now as I said at the beginning of the game, this will only be 150. Now these also work with the Mk2 generators as well. Now there are a couple of things to note and a nice little bit of bonuses with these is both the Mk1 and the Mk2 crank generators can be run in series like this. So if you link them together, what you can do is if we just get rid of this water wheel here, I can show you. Then what we'll do is we'll get rid of this one just so I can showcase this next bit for you. So as you can see, both of these here are deactivated. Now if you run them in series like this, so they are all linked together, if you just select one of them and activate it, it will actually activate however many you have in that line. And one last little thing to note for the water wheels and the generators. So when it comes to the Mk1 crank generators, you will only need one water wheel and that will power 2 of the Mk1 crank generators. But when you come to the Mk2 crank generators, you will need 2 water wheels just to power one Mk2 generator. So you just want to bear that in mind when you have a whole load of Mk2 generators. You do need enough room for a whole load of water wheels. So next, that brings us on to these here, which are the accumulators. So I'm just going to head back over here, but I have quite a few of them. As you can see, I've got quite a few accumulators here. Now these play a key part in your power system. So although you've got all of these generators powering everything, not many, if any, of your machines will actually function properly and work, because we will need these accumulators. Now these accumulators are basically what stores all the power that your generators are making. So if we inspect here, it will show us our power network, which brings me onto the next sort of menu to explain to you. So as you can see, our satisfaction is at 100%, which is absolutely perfect. It's kind of where it should be. Now we've got here our production accumulator. Now you'll probably notice this number waving all over the place, and that's basically the power that we are using. So it keeps flicking depending on what machines we have running and what they're doing. Now the number next to it in brackets is how much power that all of my generators are generating, and then your accumulator charge, which is this one here in gigajoules. That's all the accumulative power I have with all my accumulators. So as I said, you need a fairly big space for all of these accumulators, as your power system will not run properly without them. Now you're probably aware that in your tech tree you will find stuff that will give you boosts, for instance. So let's go over here, for instance, where we have the accumulation 2, which is just here, which is quite low in the tech tree under the energy. And as you can see just there on the left hand corner, it says accumulated charge required 60,000 kilowatts. So for this to be active and increase our charge capacity of the accumulators, we need 60,000 kilowatts of accumulated charge. Now there are plenty more in the tech tree as well that will have that, and the easiest way we can check that is just here on the bottom right hand corner in the tech tree. You will see power, and as you can see here we have 3,750,000 kilowatts of energy. And what this number basically is if we head back over to the power, we'll see here that the accumulator charge is at 3.8 gigajoules, and that basically converts to the 3.75 million on the kilowatts. It's just an easier way to check in your tech tree in the bottom right hand corner. So now we've run through all the basics of the power and everything else like that. You're probably now wondering, you're probably now thinking to yourself, but Kryptonite, where am I going to put all of these generators and all of these accumulators that I need to power my factory when it sort of gets as big as I've got it right about now, and it's only going to get bigger? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of locations that I have found to build them. So obviously you saw in the video the power plant, which is not far from your main base, and it's where you'll scan the water wheels and stuff. You can utilize that area as there are already some rundown water wheels, so you can expand and do whatever you need to do there. What I have done, as you can see, is I have stored my all under my factory. So I've got my factory a couple of levels up, and I've basically utilized a river here that you get right at your main base. I've used that for the water wheels. I've got a whole load of generators, as you can see, and basically I've just linked the power floors. Now a nice little side tip with the power floors, as we are talking about power, they do come in hand. If you want to build multiple levels of your power floors and you've noticed that sometimes they don't power up, all you need to do is link them in a column. So I've got mine over there in the left hand corner, but basically you want to do a similar setup to this. So you've got your bottom floor, and you just basically build some columns and link it to the floor above, and that will power that floor for you. Now I have noticed from time to time, once I've laid down a new floor, it won't light up like this. It doesn't mean it's not connected. You might just have to save and reload the game, or just wait a while and it normally sorts itself out. Don't forget, this game is still in early access. All of my accumulators, once you barely start the game, you'll come across an unused little place like this. This will have a few of the accumulators, and that's where you scan them to get the option to build them. And I basically just started off by filling the whole of this room with all of my accumulators to start with. As I said, I've got all my generators and that down here. Now I do need to slowly convert these into Mark 2s, but as I showcased before, we'll go and have another look. I did start expanding out the power plant. So here we are back at the power plant. As you can see, I've started to expand out here, so I've got plenty of room for a few more accumulators. I've started my Mark 2 generators and all my water wheels, and I decided to do a great big line like this. So this is a perfect sort of opportunity for me to show you in regards to the Mark 2 generators. I have 10 here in a row, and as you can see, you need 2 water wheels for each one, so it does expand quite far and take a lot of room. I just decided to do this to see what I thought was more feasible in the way of space management. So there we go everyone. I apologise that the video has been a little bit longer, but there was a lot that I wanted to go through in regards to power. But nonetheless, I hope the information was all helpful. If it was, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you don't miss any more Techtonica videos. It's been Kryptonite here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.